Hey everybody, it's Mark coming to you today with the Blade Eclipse, brand new helicopter from Blade. It's a 360 size, 360 millimeter blades. It has a full foam fuselage, an enclosed tail rotor, which is super cool. Nav lights, so you've got left and right and landing lights. I'm going to go over a few things with this helicopter that I like, a couple things I don't like, or that could be problems, and just let you know the truth about what I think about this helicopter. So I've been flying helicopters for several years. I own about 14, all the way up to 700 size, and I'm not that great of a pilot. I have fun at it though, and I love it. So, first thing that I will say about this helicopter is, if you don't fly helicopters, this might not be your first one. And there's a couple reasons for that. So, I'm going to get right into it. If you haven't seen my other video, I did a maiden video where I charged the battery. I programmed my IX-14 and I went out and flew it. I did it. I didn't fly it at all before I took the video. It's super stable and it's a super capable machine. It's got a lot of power, carbon fiber main blades. It does have a tail motor, which with what I was doing with it, it held fine. I have seen some people flying some 3D and it looked fine. I think the tail motor is holding just fine. And there's a lot of bigger helicopters out now, from about the 400 size down, that have tail motors, and the motor technology has come so far with the brushless motors that, and the programming technology, that the tail just holds. It's great. And there's no moving parts back here. You don't have a push rod. You don't have blades that change directions. You can just have a motor that speeds up or slows down to keep your tail straight. It's a good system. It's not perfect, but it is good. Things that I love about this helicopter: its scale. It's got nav lights. It looks awesome. And I'm going to do, I live in Michigan. I'm going to do this up in a Coast Guard scheme. It's going to have the numbers on it for Michigan, and it's going to be orange and black and with white stripe. It's going to look a lot like, in the air, it's going to look a lot like a Coast Guard helicopter. So once I get that done, I will post a video. I got some guys in the club that are helping me do some things with that. So pros: very light, nav lights, scale looks, it's great. Cons: I think Horizon Hobby probably has a plan for this. But if you crash this helicopter, I think it's going to be hard to rebuild. I don't know exactly how this body is going to come off it, and I hope to never find out. Chances are someday I will. But having said that, I want to show you the guts. So this is the inside of the helicopter. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well, but this is a push-pull system for one of the cyclic servos. You can see it move the swash plate there. This is a very old configuration. I had a Raptor helicopter probably 15 years ago that had this configuration. Pretty much all modern helicopters are direct swash plate to servo drive. So you'll have 3 servos mounted around the swash plate down in here, and you have a direct 90-degree linkage. It's easy to work on. It's easy to get it all flat and straight and stuff. This is not so much. This is a little bit more work. It functions absolutely beautifully. There's no problem with the way it functions. It's just harder to set up in case of a crash or in case you're building the helicopter to begin with. That is a reason why a lot of companies just got away from it. There's less parts. It's more direct. You set it at 90 degrees. It's super easy to adjust that you know, one linkage to get your swash plate flat. Having said that, that sort of configuration will not fit well in a scale frame, at least like this. I can't imagine that Blade would be able to, or, you know, that they would be able to find a way to mount those servos in there to fit this scale looking body. That's pretty much the biggest drawback to this, is if you want to do crazy 3D flying, I personally wouldn't do it with this. What I was looking for is a helicopter that I can build into a scale model that I can take to the RC club or go to shows, and I can either display it statically or I can take it up and fly it around, entertain people, you know, and they're going to look at it and be like, oh, it's the Coast Guard, that's cool. You know, it's got nav lights. I think it's going to excel for that, and I think it's worth the price. If you've never flown a helicopter before, although this is a super stable helicopter, and I think it's fine for beginners, but you're probably going to want to get a lot of sim time in, and or get, you know, somebody on a buddy box with you that knows how to fly helicopters. So if you've never flown a helicopter before, the centrifugal force when you take off tilts the helicopter to the right. When that happens, you have to give a little bit of left aileron to bring it back standard. So you'll notice in the video that I shot, the helicopter kind of leans up to the right before it takes off. And I compensated that because I've flown helicopters before. If you've never flown helicopters before and you're expecting this thing to come straight off the ground, that's not going to happen. And I'm just being honest with you. What's going to happen is your helicopter is going to twist to the right. It might come, the tail might get a little light first. You need to put a little bit of left aileron in and get that thing up off the ground. Once the helicopter is off the ground, it's going to hover with a slight tilt to the right. That's completely normal. Don't worry about that at all. As long as it's staying where it's supposed to. You might not even perceive it. It might be such a slight tilt, but it will tilt. So, long story short, I think that this is an awesome helicopter. I don't, however, think that it should be someone's first helicopter. The reason I want to emphasize that is I've seen a couple reviews of people that got them beforehand, before they were released, and said, you know, they're influencers. So they were like, I'm an airplane guy. I fly airplanes. I don't really fly helicopters. This thing is so easy to fly. It is easy to fly. But it's not, it's still a helicopter. You got a lot of reciprocating mass. You got a lot of moving parts. And if you've never flown a helicopter before and don't know that they kind of start to tip a little bit and different things, you could end up with a pile of foam and parts. And I don't want that to happen. I want you to have a good flying experience. If you want to build a scale helicopter, you have a little bit of helicopter skill, and it doesn't need to be much. You can fly a little, you know, a little CP Nano, as long as it's collective pitch and you kind of know the nuances of taking off the ground and getting out of ground effect. This is fine. You're going to be okay. It's super stable. Just be aware that I think rebuilding this is going to be a task. Impossible? Obviously not. Nothing's impossible. I've had a basket full of helicopter parts before and rebuilt it. It was fine. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to come back after I get it painted up and made into scale. I'm going to bring back and do another video. But for now, I wanted to give you my honest opinion. And I think this thing is sweet. I am super stoked about it, and I really want to go out and fly it again. But now that I know that it flies and it's trimmed right, there's no, it hovers, everything fine. I'm gonna do the scale stuff to it first, and then I'll take it out and I'll fly it for enjoyment. But I'll come back after I get it built into the scale machine that I want it to be. I'll make another video, show you the changes that I did to it and how it turned out. Give you any tips that I can so that if I have any problems painting the foam or anything like that, you can avoid those, and we'll just go from there. But I hope you have good flying experience, and if you are thinking about this, I mean, I would get it. If you have the money, and even if you're not going to fly it right away, it looks sweet sitting on your mantle while you're learning on the simulator. Be the center of attention at family get-togethers. It's really cool. And I'm stoked about it. Blade Eclipse. Get yourself one. If you don't know how to fly, get a smaller helicopter. And Blade's got a couple of small. I think the 120 Fusion is a new one, a small helicopter, almost indestructible. Learn to fly on that, then you can fly this. Until next time.